guys, I decided to do a Draw My Life video so you can get to know me a little bit more since we're all friends here. My full name is Kristen Sarah Jacobson, but my stage name is Kristen Sarah. I was born in Toronto, but grew up in Brampton, Ontario, Canada. My story starts off like all others. Mom and dad meet, they do their thing, and then surprise, you have a Kristen. That's basically what happened. I had a great childhood filled with lots of love and lots of fun. It consisted mostly of wearing boy clothes, being covered in dirt, yes, that is dirt on my face, and riding big wheels. I was quite the tomboy. When I was 3, my mom took me to the pet store where I fell in love for the first time. When I set eyes on the cutest little poodle, I knew he would be my best friend for the next 17 years. I have always been a very creative person. As a young child, I spent a lot of time watching Mr. Dress Up and painting, drawing, creating. I even made a backpack out of lined paper and staples to wear to school in kindergarten. I also would take food from my parents' fridge and set up a grocery store in my room and make my parents buy back their food. I also loved to build box forts, and not just your typical box forts. I'm talking 3-story condos. I even built one for Pluto that was 2 levels, and he loved it. He slept in it for quite a while. I must also mention that I turned my room into a 4-star restaurant, a carnival where I set up a lot of games for my family to come in and pay to play them, and also a dance party. I also turned my room into an art studio, and that's where I sold my work to my family. When I was 3, I saved up enough money to buy my own Cabbage Patch doll, which cost like $60 at the time. When I was nearly 7 years old, my parents decided to move. Changing schools wasn't that bad. I made friends quickly with people that are still in my close group of friends today. That same year, I also was hand-selected to be part of what would be my first theatrical performance. I was a bird with a few other girls, and I was the only bird with no lines, but did I ever put on a performance? As the other girls said their lines, I flapped my wings like a bird on a mission, and from then on, I was hooked. From then on, every year I was in a school play up until the end of high school. I was also part of the school choir in elementary school and the school band in middle school. I loved to perform, and I knew from a very young age that that's what I wanted to do when I grew up. I wanted to entertain people, make them smile and laugh. That same year, I also got my first video camera. It was one of those black and white ones from Fisher-Price that you had to plug into the VCR in order to use. I would spend hours reenacting Grease the movie over and over with my friends. I even created my own news show with my co-host Pluto, and my own radio show where I played Ace of Base songs and read the Magic School Bus books. When I think back to my childhood, I honestly can't think of a dull day, and I have my parents to thank for that. Thank you, Mom and Dad. For years, I did baseball, basketball, football, took swimming, art classes, wrestling, skating, acting classes. I even have my black belts in Taekwondo. Hoo-yah! Watch out. In grade 10 drama class, that's where I met a boy named Sia, who quickly became my best friend, then boyfriend, and eventually fiancé. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. In grade 11, I had one of my most memorable auditions in my life when I auditioned for the school play. It consisted of me burying my face into a bowl of Cheetos, and I got the leading role as a compulsive eating queen in George F. Walker's Rumors of Our Death. That was a hoot. In grade 12, I became friends with a group of girls who would change my life. These girls were all exchange students from South America. They were like no other friends I had had before. I spent my weekends dancing salsa, learning Spanish, and going on the most random adventures, and falling in love. One of the exchange students from Paraguay, named Andrea, was living with Sia, the boy from the grade 10 drama class. Sia and his family hosted many exchange students over the years. Since I spent so much time at Sia's house with Andrea and the other Fezes, I spent a lot of time with Sia too, and we quickly became best friends. Then his friends became my best friends, and before I knew it, my dream of having this amazing group of friends I could be my complete self with and have the most fun with became a reality. This year was incredible. When it came time for the Fezes to go back to their countries, I was so sad, but I was also really thankful to have had met them and had, which is still one of the best years of my life. That summer, I spent most of it hanging out with Sia and my new group of awesome friends. I also made the decision to go back to school even though I had graduated to take part in an exchange program where I would get to spend 4 months in Paraguay, and this would be the trip that turned me into a travel junkie. As summer was quickly coming to an end, me, Sia, and some friends decided to celebrate the end of the summer by going camping. This was the camping trip where I finally pulled Sia into a tent and confessed my love for him. A couple of days later, he broke up with his girlfriend, and we've been together ever since. I know there's probably going to be haters out there, but it ended up for the best. You know, we're still together, 9 years later, it was meant to be. 6 months into our relationship, I left for 4 months to live and volunteer in Paraguay, South America. Paraguay was the most incredible experience. I lived with 2 host families and taught English in 3 different schools. It was also the first time I came face to face with extreme poverty, and the first time I left the country without my parents. I came back a changed person, speaking Spanish fluently and wanting to travel more. Following Paraguay, I went to college where I studied TV and film production. This meant that Sia and I would continue our long-distance relationship for the next 4 years. Sia decided that instead of living on campus, he would buy a car so that he could drive to see me on weekends. During my second year of college, I took part in a crazy national competition for a $50,000 scholarship. I worked really hard for that scholarship, as in not much of a social life and many sleepless nights, and then one day I got the phone call that I had got it. I remember being in complete shock. I no longer had to pay for school, and not only that, I would be able to spend the money I had saved for college on travel. And to top it off, the Scholarship Foundation required that I travel in the summer doing something in my field. I honestly felt like the luckiest person in the world, and I am so fortunate to have had this opportunity. So I would work hard at school during the year and also work a part-time job, save money, and in the summer I would use that money to travel. My first trip while in college, and my first trip with Sia, was to Peru, where him and I filmed a documentary which you can watch here. It was my first independent project and such a lovely experience that really did change my life. I learned the power of giving something as simple as clean water to those who didn't have it, and it was the best gift in the world. Sia and I learned that we are awesome traveling together, which is a necessity for any avid traveler. The following year, I spent part of the summer living and working at a TV studio in Ghana in West Africa without Sia, and the other part traveling through Italy, Sicily, and Tunisia with Sia and also my mom. That same year, Sia also went to Israel on his own. I really believe that having our own independent lives with the support from one another is what has kept our relationship so strong over the years. During my last year of college, I went back to Paraguay and Brazil with Sia and his family to see my friend Andrea, one of the Fezes, get married. That same year, Sia and I moved to Toronto together, where we would finally not have a long-distance relationship for the first time in our relationship. For the next year and a half, I learned a lot about working in the TV and film industry. I worked at MTV Canada and freelance for large productions such as Much Music, Canada's Walk of Fame, So You Think You Can Dance Canada, the World Poker Tour, Chum FM Fan Fest, and We Day. Throughout that entire year, I also saved money because I wanted to spend about a year traveling the world. When our lease was finally up, Sia moved back home for a bit, and I started what would become a 10-month trip around the world. But before I left, I started a blog because I wanted my friends and family to be able to follow my adventures. That blog is called Hopscotch the Globe, and little did I know it would become a popular travel website that would connect me with people all around the world and give me wonderful opportunities. On my round-the-world trip, I went from Iceland to England, and then I spent 3 months in India traveling alone, but also making amazing friends along the way. Traveling through India alone allowed me to really grow a lot as a person and as a traveler. In India, I spent a lot of time living in an ashram and learning about the world of yoga and meditation, which is incredible. I also went to a Buddhism school in a place called Dharamsala, where the Dalai Lama lives, and actually took a course taught by the Dalai Lama himself. It was so cool listening to His Holiness teach the Buddhist philosophy. During a 60-hour train ride by myself from the south of India to the north, I actually went through my entire life in my head, remembering things I hadn't even thought about in years and reflecting and appreciating. And I also remember having this moment of realization, an epiphany. And out loud, I said, I need to be acting. So I made a pact with myself that after the trip, I would go home and pursue acting. After just over 3 months in India, I flew to Thailand where I met up with Sia, and him and I spent the next 6 months traveling through Thailand, Cambodia, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, India again, and Morocco, Turkey, and Greece. The last 2 countries, my mom even joined us. These 6 months really shaped the people we are today. We also tried a lot of new things like eating insects like giant grasshoppers and scorpion. We got our scuba diving license, had the craziest New Year celebration at a full moon party, drove motorbikes, crashed motorbikes, had a shark encounter, almost got chopped up by a boat propeller, flew in a hot air balloon, saw Angkor Wat, learned how to cook great meals, got asked to be in Bollywood movies, swam in the Ganga, got lost in the markets of Morocco, slept overnight in the middle of the jungle, made lifelong friends, and the list continues. Seriously, the stories I can tell are insane. It would make this video about 1 week long. About halfway into our trip together, we split up for a few weeks to have our own solo adventure. And when we came back together in India, Sia proposed to me with a necklace he bought while hiking Everest. And we were in our $4 hostel room he proposed using a mouth guard case, which was in a sock to keep the necklace safe. The whole trip was incredible, and throughout the journey I blogged and made some videos along the way. People from all over the world started finding my blog and emailing me and telling me how much I've inspired them, and it was one of the best feelings in the world. When I got back home from the trip, I moved back to Toronto and Sia moved in with his parents to save money. I knew I had to be in Toronto if I wanted to pursue acting. It has been about 2 years now since that trip, and since then so much has happened that I could make an entirely other video. I conquered my fear of singing in front of people by acting in 3 musicals. I now have an acting agent and have been in music videos, commercials, TV pilots, and billboards. I partnered with Travel and Escape, which is the travel channel in Canada, to make travel videos and have been hosted by various tourism boards and resorts around the world to travel and make videos. I even won a film festival in Puerto Rico. I have turned Hopscotch the Globe into a travel vlog. Rather than writing adventures, I bring them to life using video. I have also started my YouTube journey, and although it's only the beginning, I'm really excited to be here with you guys, and I really love YouTube and believe it's where I'm supposed to be. Now I'm acting and making YouTube videos, engaged to my best friend, have an awesome family and group of friends, and I'm about to take my career to a whole other level, but I can't tell you the details quite yet. I can tell you that it is a TV show and I am one of the leading ladies. I feel so blessed to have had all of these amazing opportunities in life and wonderful people part of it. Although I didn't go into much detail about the struggle part of it and how hard I have worked to get to this point, I have and still do. I work hard every single day. This didn't all come easy to me. I believe 100% that everything I've done I got to because of how hard I've worked, and that anyone can do it too if they work hard doing what they love. Find what makes you happy and do everything in your power to make it the main part of your life. So many people work jobs that make them miserable. Why? You spend the majority of your life working. Don't waste your time doing something that doesn't bring you happiness. The purpose in life is to be happy, so do whatever you have to do to get as much happiness in your life, even if it takes some struggle to get there. Let love, passion, and happiness be your motivation and your drive. I hope you continue to join me on this amazing journey and we can continue to inspire each other and create a positive and enjoyable environment for each other to motivate each other and follow our dreams. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe because I put up a new video every week.